I am Reverend Alexis Anderson. I am one of the founding members of the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison Reform Coalition. We are so pleased to have you here. We are so pleased to have some of our partners here. As everybody knows, this is a hideous election season. Yeah, we gotta vote some folks out. I'm sorry, that was a genuine opinion of mine, not the coalition's opinion, although we were at the Capitol today, so yes, we actually have that opinion too. But what you'll notice is that on the nice little package that I gave you, you will see that we have 4 things that we are caring about particularly, which is that our coalition was founded by primarily people who had lost somebody in custody. And so we are committed to ending deaths in custody. And for us, what that means is 2 specific strategies. The first one is that we believe no entry. So we believe that there are alternatives, and that is our goal, is to make sure, for instance, people with behavioral health challenges are not criminalized for that. And one of the hats I wear is I am actually the Children and Youth Chair of the Louisiana Behavioral Health Advisory Council. So when I say I know literally every single mental health bed in this state, I know what we do and I know what we don't do. And so we have a lot of work we can do, but we also as a coalition have something called a court changer program. I am in the 19th JDC most days. Myself or some of our volunteers. What we do in the 19th JDC is we monitor something called first appearance. And what that means is that first appearance is the first hearing when people come into the criminal justice system. And so we are there for 2 reasons very specifically. Some of you may have heard the term court watch. We do court watch, so we do figure out what the court's doing, if they're doing what they're supposed to do. But we're a court changer program because, quite frankly, we are there to make sure that our families are treated with respect and dignity. And so one of the things that we are able to monitor is the number of people for whom with an intervention they should not be entering the criminal system. And it happens way more than you might think. So we have a lot of young people, for instance, that when they were at home under their parents' control, they were on their medication because the adults in their life maintain that. And they come to college. And we have 2 of the largest universities in the country. And they don't have monitoring. And I don't know about the rest of y'all, but when I went to college at 17, I planned on being buck wild. Like, I wasn't asking nobody if that was the plan. And young people are, they go buck wild. But part of the problem is then you're off of your medication, something bad happens. As you know, we are now a state that criminalizes 17-year-olds. But we have nothing in that system for 17-year-olds. So we put children in a system that isn't fit for animals. And we have no system to protect them. And so when I say courts are very important to us, they're extraordinarily important to us. And family court is very important to us because, yes, I will tell you, I told you I'm in the criminal court. A whole bunch of what shows up in my day-to-day at 1 o'clock, hello, yes indeed, there is a saying in that building. Y'all the most dangerous floor yes, 4th floor is the most dangerous floor in that entire building. And you might ask yourself why, but the part of the reason we thought it was critical to have this forum is because most of us as citizens do not know what our courts do. And the truth is, we are a 3-tier government. The courts are an independent body. And yet, even as we speak, and you'll hear during this forum tonight, increasingly, you have other players in the other systems that are dictating the terms of how courts operate. But here's where this is so important, and we are going to ask you when you leave here tonight. We are going to be videoing this, and we are going to put it on our Facebook page, which means that when you leave here by tomorrow, you should be able to share this with your friends, family, and neighbors. Why do I say all of that? Because it's April and it's Louisiana. See, y'all know what this is. Everybody got something to do almost every single day of the week. We ain't competing with Jazz Fest. We ain't competing with International. We ain't competing with all of that. But here's the thing. Technology allows us to sometimes be in the space for which we're very grateful you're here. But it also allows us to let you take the space with you and share with your friends, family, and neighbors, because I guarantee you most of them do not know this particular position is on the ballot. I promise you they don't. Why? Because what is all the groups doing? They are talking about the amendments. And the reality is what is going on in East Baton Rouge Parish is nothing but voter nullification from the top to the bottom. And so one of the important things that all of us as voters and citizens have to remember is that, quite frankly, our vote is not just a superpower, but when we get out and vote, it changes the game. And so it is very important for us to know what candidates are asking and what candidates are doing and what candidates bring to the table. A lot of times and I'm just gonna say it, I'm a very proud AKA. I ain't never voted for nobody in my life because they an AKA. Never. Doesn't mean I don't like AKAs, but voters need to know what is in their interest. Can I just say that? This particular court touches everybody's life. If you live long enough, some part of what this court does is going to impact your life. And a lot of people don't have the slightest idea how courts work at all. And when they get into them, they're surprised to discover courts are funded by fines and fees. That's the first thing. So every time you hear about somebody getting a raise, you better know that cha-ching coming out of your pocket. And people think, well, that's not me. Oh, but it is. Open a business. Have a relative die. Adopt a child. Get a divorce. Get married. Have palimony. Inherit, disinherit. Like, that's all the things city court does. And some of the things that we don't know about family courts is that for many of us, we need to be paying attention not just to what's happening in these courts, but who's on these courts. Right. And that's why tonight is so important. And so we're so pleased you are here. There is punch and there is water. There is surely diet food. I'm assuming all those little chocolatey things must be 0 calories. As I cross my fingers while I tell y'all that. And we have some sandwiches. Please feel free during the forum that you ain't gotta be glued to the seat. Well, y'all don't do that at church either. So I was gonna say this ain't church, but y'all don't do that at church either. Y'all be getting up too. So just know that that's available to you. If you have never been in our amazing Eden Park Library, the restrooms are right outside, right around the corner. If you need anything, please let me know. But with that being said, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce not just my friend, but a man who has just done incredible work in a lot of spaces that some people know about, some people don't. But one of the things he's done, because I added it to his resume, is he's now the official forum moderator, no matter what else is on his schedule, for the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison Reform Coalition. A man of incredible talents, incredible opportunity, who is doing amazing work in the reentry space. And so I would like to introduce everybody to my friend and fellow member of the coalition, Dr. Fletcher Bell.
And thank you, audience. I want to just take the time to say it's always a privilege to be here, especially when it comes to being at the Eden Park Library. I'm from the park. I'm from the Eden Park. Grew up on 39th Street right here. Went to Eden Park Elementary School. Went to Capital Junior, Capital Senior. So the park and the interconnections of what goes on in this community is high on my list. So when it comes to the family court, we know that Baton Rouge is very unique. Out of all the 64 parishes in the state of Louisiana, we know that Baton Rouge is the only one who have a self-sustained family court. We have our family court, we have our civil courts, and our criminal courts. And as Reverend Andrews said, the reason family court is so very important is because it affects those lives, and it affects the children, and it affects things close to our heart. Tonight's forum will be one where we get a chance to meet and get the chance to know a little bit more about one of the qualified candidates for this position on the family court. We know that the actual voting will be May the 16th. So with that in mind, there's a few important dates I want to bring out. The first one is early voting. Early voting will be May the 2nd through May the 9th. And this will be every day excluding, not including Sunday. Votes will be closed on Sunday, but you can go and it will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Again, that's May the 2nd through May the 9th, 8:30 a.m., 6 p.m. I always encourage my mother and other people in her community to go, because you never know what's going to happen on May the 16th. They may not be feeling well, they may have a bad day, may not want to go. But those other days, you can choose the place, you can choose your time, and there's usually not a line. So if you can go for the early voting, get it out the way, and that way you can sleep in on Saturday and do something you want to do. The next thing, the deadline to request an absentee ballot is May the 12th. And you have to do that by 4:30 p.m. Unless you're in the military or you're overseas and you vote from overseas, you have a little more time. And the deadline for a registered voter to receive a voted absentee ballot is May the 15th by close of business. On election day, as I said, which is May the 16th, the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you are in line, you're going to get the opportunity to cast your vote. So 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. May 16th. So while we're here tonight, this is a forum, which means I'm going to be asking the candidate some questions so we can get to know her platform, get to know her, get to know what she stands for, get to know why she wants to be a judge, or why she feels she has the right to represent the people here and the people who are watching online. There will be questions that I'm going to ask, but I'm going to save time at the end of this forum for the audience question. I'm just one person. I have questions here which was submitted, but I think you taking out your time, being here is more important. I want to give you the opportunity to be heard and any questions that you may have for this candidate to be answered. The forum will be structured as follows. I'm going to give the candidate 2 minutes to introduce herself. As I say, tell us why she's here, why she's running. And then I'm going to ask the questions that I have prepared. There's, I think, 8 questions I have here prepared, give her a chance to answer in full extent. And then I'm going to come to you, the audience, to make sure I get an opportunity to see if there's questions specifically that you want answers. After that, we're going to then give the candidate an opportunity to close and tell you why she wants you to get out to the polls and motivate you to get out and vote. At this time, I'm going to specifically thank Ms. Guillard for being here, because I have worked campaigns, I have been part of campaign committees, and I know that it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work, and I'm saying it one more time. It's a lot of hard work. So to have the opportunity, to have the chance to be here off for a busy schedule, we want to specifically thank you for taking the time to care enough about the public to give them a chance to get to know you. And of course, I want to thank you, the village, for coming out and being here, because as I say, it's up to you to go out, to take what you learned tonight, to spread it in the beauty shop, to spread it at the churches, to spread it at your places of employment, and give people that push. We know that here in Louisiana, our voting numbers are horrific,
Yes.
That's the best word I can say on screen, on camera. And we know that we need to do more to get out because people have the opportunity and people do not realize if you do not vote, people always say their vote don't count. No, it counts twice because you're giving a person who may not have your best interest or the interest of you and your community. You're giving them a chance to make decisions that's going to affect you in the long term. So voting is important. Let's please try to take what we learned tonight and motivate people to vote. As I stated, I'm going to now give Ms. Jackson Guillard 2 minutes to introduce herself and tell us why she wants to be judge in here in Baton Rouge.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caulette Jackson Guillard. They call me twin. You see, I have an identical twin right here. But I want to state to you guys that I'm here as a wife, as a mother, as a grandmother, as a bonus mother, as a minister of the gospel. And I stand here asking and telling you that I am the one that not only understands the law, I understand you. I've been practicing family law for over 20 years. And my reason for running and my reason for even going into law is because I've been there. I dealt with childhood dysfunction. Mother and dad divorced, and then we were stuck in the middle of making decisions, feeling like we were in between mom and dad, and we loved both of them. With that being said, it gave me a burden and a passion to come, and I went to law school with the understanding that I always thought and always dreamed to become attorney first, and to at the end become a family judge attorney. This family law attorney, this family law judge. But this is a dream. I am equipped. My heart is right. I understand what the children go through. I understand what the families go through. I understand that family law affects not only people in the courtroom, but it affects families, y'all, communities, households. And for future generations, one decision can make a ball and roll effect for decades. So it's very important that we have people that put people over politics in this position. I believe with my experience, life and legal experience, y'all, I have been standing for families for 20 years, and I have been protecting our children for 20 years. And with that being said, I'm gonna be number 43. I will finish up, but I wanna tell you guys, this is a passion and this is a dream that will be fulfilled if we go out and vote. This is my second bid. I've tried and did it in 2023. It was unsuccessful, but with your help, we don't need no one to sit out on this election. It's very important that you make your vote count because there's odds against me and odds against us, and we can beat it together, and that's what I ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson Guillard. As stated, the Family Court of East Baton Rouge, I cannot stress enough, it's a specialized court. We know that the family division handles certain things. It handles domestic relations such as divorces. It handles child custody matters. It handles child support matters. It handles community property division. And most importantly, something near there, it handles protective orders for people who seek protection against family problems. It holds exclusive jurisdiction over these matters. It has 4 elected judges. There's only this one seat open at the time. That's Division A, Section 3. And this is the one that Ms. Jackson Guillard is running for. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead, and as I said, I have a few questions I'm going to ask, and we're going to start the question period so you can learn more about Ms. Guillard. First question. East Baton Rouge Parish is increasingly more diverse, and this includes individuals who speak different languages and also some with disability challenges. I'm going to ask, do you speak any language including sign, or do you plan to have somebody on staff once you're elected?
Actually, I do know a little sign language, y'all, but I don't have to, not as fluent as I want to be, but I will be equipped and will, if God allows me to become judge, have someone there to be able to interpret when it comes to that, because everyone should be heard, and feel respected.
That's great.
Yeah.
On sign language, I know it's one thing.
I don't know this.
Now's not time for that. Okay, so next question is going to be, many individuals are increasingly overwhelmed by court debt. And we know that whether it's fines or fees, or whether it's even opportunity to participate in diversionary programming, that these fees and fines could somehow affect marginalized communities more than it does regular people. Do you consider this to be a challenge for judges on the family court, and how do you plan to rectify it?
Well, I want to because it's just a fact pattern, so because of the fact pattern, I just want to make one disclaimer. I know that Candace says that if it's something that goes before us, as if it would come before us, then we can't speak on it, but I can speak on it as an attorney from my experience. And with that being said, there are the fees can be overwhelming, and I like the fact that the family court do allow form of pauper, and that's where a person that's indigent that doesn't have the money would be able to apply to be able to get those filing fees advanced for them. And so they do have that. I can just tell you that. That's one availability, as well as instead of doing fines, sometimes you can just do community service, things that you can find, other things that's not monetary. If you know the person's already burdened down, why kick them down? That's why I believe in justice with compassion. I want to bring that to the table, because I believe that when you have justice with compassion, what do I mean by that? I'm gonna apply the law with the flat facts, but I will do it from a heart of compassion, a heart of understanding. These people, this is human beings. We have our ups and downs, and why kick them when they're down? Because that's what happens in family court. People come there with crisis, and they need to be healed. They need to bring somebody to not just have conflict, but bring calmness to the conflict. And I believe I have what it takes to do that. I do.
Okay, thank you. There's a big perception in the community, and many people believe that the family court, especially, is one of hostility and one of the most dangerous courts we have here in Baton Rouge, and less of a place of quality justice. Can you speak to whether you believe this impression that people have is accurate, and if not, how do you define the role of the family court?
Well, I do have heard it, and I've seen some incidents whereby the impression could be valid. But we don't want to, they say don't define a book by its cover. And so there are different ones. We have some good and bad. But what I suggest is that there should be mutual respect. We should be mutual respect between judges and the attorneys that's going against each other, as well as the parties. And I do believe that if we have if we come in with the understanding that people need to feel respected, heard, that they don't need to feel judged when they come in because they're hurting. With that being said, we need to set that standard. It's a must that when people come into family court, in general, they should say, I could trust that the decision is going to be fair because this person's fair. I can trust that the decision is going to be something that's my children's best interest is going to be put first, because this judge that I elected understands me, understands what we've been through, the struggle, and overcame the struggle as the child. So that brings a whole lot to it, because when you become that judge, and if God bless me to become that judge, I am going to, and when I tell you, I am going to take it so seriously that my whole thing is, if you're thinking negative about family court, you won't be thinking about it anymore. Because you're going to have someone that takes this serious. It's enough is enough. We don't have to be fighting each other, beating each other up, and all those type of things. When we come to court, we should come knowing that the law will be applied to the facts, and that at the end of the day, the decision will be fair. And we can respect each other and walk out of there respecting that it was fair. And that's very important.
Thank you. Many of the issues in family court are a pathway or sometimes mirror in our criminal courts. Specifically when we're talking about domestic violence. Often the family court is the pathway or the first bite at the apple when it comes to people problems escalating into what becomes criminal matters. We know that the legislator at both the state and municipal levels continue to criminalize what many describe as quality of life issues. Do family court judges have a role to play in providing guidance to the legislative branch of the lawmakers on helping to try to curb this trend?
You want to go ahead and add?
Yes.
So I would like to speak to this. This touches home for me. You know, my niece was killed by domestic violence. And before that, as a student at Southern University Law Center, I started off as a student attorney in domestic violence with Professor Marcia Burton. And it was so clear to my heart that it was important that the priority is to protect the victims. And so we have to do more than just the restraining order. That's the step. Protective orders is the step. We have to go there. But I always say that not just a paper, they need a plan. Because if we don't touch them before they leave out of that courtroom with some type of resources, they're gonna go right back to the same situation that they're in. And 9 times out of 10, the 9 times out of 10, somebody will get killed, the other person will go to jail, and the children are lost. A whole new generation. And then not only that, what hurts me and what matters the most to me is that the children who witness the domestic violence become the next generation of ones that are either going to be the abusers or the ones that are going to be the victims, because they normalize that this is what happens in our community. We have to put a stop to it. But the only way we do it is from top to bottom. We have to make the decisions that matters. We have to be firm about this protective order. When I say justice with compassion, it's not weak. This justice with compassion is firm and fair, but it comes from a heart of compassion. And so with that being said, I would be willing in everything that I can do. I can't, as a judge, we don't make law. That's not our job. Our job is to apply the law to the facts and make a decision. But what we can do with each decision that we make, we're impacting lives. And we have the first chance, 9 times out of 10, to be able to impact that child, impact that mother, or impact that father, to get the help that they need. We see it. And so I'm going to be 100% about that.
Thank you so much. We know that the role of judges, especially, is supposed to be, they're supposed to adhere to all legal precedent or the higher courts, but we also know that the judges' decisions and impacts have a true meaning on the lives of the family and the community. So we're supposed to adhere to laws, use our compassion, and apply it equally. In your role as the most junior member, once elected on this court, on this family court, what can you do, or what do you feel yourself the ability to do to help make access to the courts better and more open for the average citizen coming in?
Advocating transparency. To advocate transparency is one thing. We should never have more transparency, let me say it that way. We should never have people thinking that we're doing backdoor deals and things like that. If we be transparent, and what I mean by that is not having a problem with talking to one another as a judge. If I'm blessed, I'll be able to talk to some of the senior judges, and I'll be willing to talk to them and ask them things and be able to hear from each other. There should be some transparency. And so I believe that that will help I believe that'll be help, and then mediations. I do believe that for family court, that we should have a mediator on the floor. Instead, because there are so many pro se litigants. People come in that's unrepresented and they go against another attorney that's seasoned. They feel like they are not getting the fair hand. But if we had a mediator that was there, available and accessible, then guess what? They'll be able to have someone else that will be help to curb that thought that something's going on behind closed doors. And and so that's where I stand on that.
Okay. In its own uniqueness, we know that the family court serves as the single role as far as providing family who may have some of these issues with results in which or ways to try to better resolve what's going on. The court has been under a great deal of scrutiny for how it has handled a multitude of challenges, from how it intersects with particular lawyers in some cases, as stated, and also back to the excessive fine, which are disheartening to some people and disabling them from functioning daily at a high level. What is your position, especially when it comes to, as you just mentioned, some people being pro se or representing themselves against some of the high-profile attorneys, and how can you assure that you're going to provide fairness to some of these people who may not be able to afford attorneys?
Once again, I'll just state that we're not getting this. I'm going to state this from my experience as an attorney that's vying to be a judge, family court judge. When it comes to that, I do believe that the judge has an opportunity when they're on the bench to create a decorum or to create an atmosphere in the courtroom. And so with that being said, I will offer, hopefully we can get this mediator situation going on, but we will definitely offer that it's hard to get. Let me tell you, the finances is an issue when it comes to having conflict attorneys and other attorneys doing it, pro bono attorneys, different things like that. But I do believe that if we can get some mediators, and that when we consider contempt fees, attorney fees, and all those type of things, that we should consider the whole person, what they're going through, what kind of finances they have, before we just burden them down with those expenses. But let me tell you this, there are times when they are warranted. Why? Because if you give people a slap on the wrist, I'm saying there are times, they're going to be what? Repeat over and over again. So we just have to be able to be a discerner of when, but you have to, it's not one size fit all. That's been a problem, because sometimes we have one size fit all mentality, but it should be individual cases. You treat people on their individual basis and not just have a straightforward, everybody gonna do this. It shouldn't be like that. But we have to inquire. We have to make some inquiries.
Next question. We know that our refugee and immigrant populations, as stated, are growing, especially within inner city parish limits. We know that finally, thank God, 2024, that the 287G agreement, that was the agreement where the Sheriff's Office contact ICE and things of that nature. And of course, Louisiana was one of the last ones to get rid of. But we know that a lot of these are now not out of place, but we know that there's been a federal push on an immigration level in some of this process and things going on. Some people are not being afforded their constitutional rights or their rights to due process. As a judge, how do you feel about this, and how do you feel about due process for everyone?
First of all, everyone is afforded due process. That's not something that we should ever compromise on. We should always make sure that's a priority, especially if I'm blessed to be a judge. When it comes to immigration and the treatment of others, I won't speak specifically, but what I can say is this. I've had the opportunity of being the president of Guardian Initiative. I was 10 years, it was a decade of that, because I was born in Baton Rouge and I was raised in Guardian by a single mother. And I came back to the area and became the president of Guardian Initiative, which is a place where, when I tell you, we have a diverse, we deal with everything. I took it on my own and a couple other attorneys during the time that ICE was having everyone scared, and the students, parents were scared to send their kids to school. We took time out to actually do transfer of custody, just in case. That's sad. People were thinking, if they come and get me and my kids are legal, what can I do? So we had to do actual transfers to try to set them so they can have a plan in place just in case they knock on the door and take them away, and the kids who are really American citizens be stuck there. And what I'm saying is that we have to take this to heart. We can't be talkers. We actually got to walk this out. And is it easy? No, because it's been done. But we have to be willing to be bold, and be bold enough to say, I see you. There's a way to help. And we can't help, we may not help everybody, but it has to start somewhere. We have to have empathy. We have to have real empathy and no biasness when it comes to, okay, well, maybe, no, they're people. People need help. And if we can help somebody, we need to help them. And I believe that I would have an awesome opportunity, if God bless me, to be able to administer the justice and an equal and fair justice. I do believe that.
Thank you so much for that answer. Next question, and I want the audience to be getting your questions ready. I'm not down to my last couple of questions, and I say that you guys are more important than me, so make sure I give you the fair opportunity. But the next question will be, a lot of judges have increasingly weighed in on issues concerning their own roles and topics such as redistricting, topics such as retirement age or mandatory retirement ages, topics as salaries and so on, but not on issues such as in-custody deaths when it comes to people in prison, solitary confinement when it comes to people, and things which also affect families on a daily basis. What is your position on the role of judges as speaking out on issues of fairness and equal opportunities?
When it comes to the position of judging, and I will say this again, we know we don't make law over the bench, and I will not if God blesses me, but I'm an advocate. And we are advocates regardless of where we are, you know. And so with that being said, I will be showing not by my mouth. There will be steps that I will be willing to make to help people, period. And when you mention redistricting and all those different positions, this is a real advocacy. This is a real issue. And I can just say this, the position, when I say beat odds, beating the odds, one of the odds that we have to beat together is the map in my particular Division A. The map is not for, I'm just being real with you, it's not a minority majority seat. It would be a history seat. And it's difficult. But people have to go beyond party lines. People have to see beyond racial lines. People have to see beyond all of that and see that there's a person named Caulette that's willing to go beyond that and be able to be that advocate, to be able to bring hope to the hopeless. Because if people see that someone who has started from the bottom, that's humble enough to be real about it, and that as God elevate and he gets the glory, that people will change. This can help a trajectory of this state and this city in a positive way. And so I can tell you this, redistricting is to my heart, because I know that that's something that, that I battle, but I believe with God all things are possible.
Yes.
And it may have, you know, like I said, it may have succumbed to it last time, but I believe the strategy that we have, I believe people are welcoming an opportunity to give me a chance. And so I pray the good Lord that we can beat that map without having to deal with the redistricting. Before the redistricting even occurred, we could beat that map. We have that opportunity on May 16th to do just that.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned that to get here, to get to the step that you once practiced in the family division aspect of law, I want to ask just for people who may be, what is your, how many cases did you have, how many years did you practice, how much do you think the things that you've done in the family has prepared you for this position, and in what way?
Oh my God. I have been doing this for 20 years, y'all. And so my focus has been family law. I do a little criminal defense here and there. I love it, but my focus and my concentration has been consistently 20 years of family law. Complex issues, community problems. I can't even tell you what issues I do trials. It could be thousands of cases. I mean, if anybody want to do a little research, and I don't have a problem with it, you can go downtown on the second floor and put my name in, and you're going to see pages and pages and pages of work, because this is what I've done. And so I'm telling you, keep me accountable. If anything that I've said, you can go back and check it. And when it comes to caseloads, you probably wouldn't even be able to get to as much as for 20 years of practicing. And not just in EBR, 80% in EBR, but I do in every different districts. I did trials, I've stood the test of times. And I've done it on, sometimes, you know, we know our worth, but because of the person I am, I do help and do reduce prices. We do pro bono cases at times. We do have our limits, but when we do them, I treat them just like they paid me the big, you know, $10,000, but you know, I treat them just the same. And so with that being said, I have the experience. I know it's not one part of this law that I have not either tried, advocated for. Man, y'all just check it. I'm an open book. I will be approachable, and I know what I know. I understand the law, but I understand you. That's a whole nother level.
Thank you so much. We know that the court, the actual family court, is physically housed in Main 19 JDC, which also has the, as I said, the civil court judges, which also has the criminal court judges. But we know that there's very little interaction as far as the judges conferencing together, as far as sharing ideals, things of that nature. Do you see this as a positive or a negative? And if so, why?
It can be negative when it comes to that, because you would want all of us, no matter if we're in family court, criminal court, city court, to have more of a, I guess you could say, unity. Only because family court and all of those, it spills over to criminal sometimes. It spills over to civil when it comes to successions and things like that. It spills over even in juvenile court when it comes to adoptions, because family court does not handle adoptions. Juvenile court does. Family court don't handle successions. Civil court does. So it spills over in all of those things. So to me, it's a shared, it's a shared importance for all of us to know, you know, what's going on. So I believe it can be negative, but I like to speak positive. I believe that we're going to do better. I believe that the system is getting better when it comes to having specialized courts in the 19 JDC. And I love that. Domestic violence, they have specialized courts, so it gives people an opportunity to be able to collaborate, more of a collaboration than something happens up on the 10th, on the 9th floor, 8th floor, but 4th floor have no idea. So if we be able to do that, we could dip and say, okay, he has a crime of domestic violence up here, or she had one up there. Well, you know what? Restraining order, we see, you know, so it's to me, it should be a more closer knit, and I believe it will be. We're gonna do better. I believe if I'm blessed, we're gonna do better, and they're doing better now. They're trying, and I believe that they are a nucleus. I'm from the outside looking in at this point, but I just want to speak the truth.
Okay. Okay, we know the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison Reform Committee has operated with a court changer program within the 19 JDC now for 6 years. And we believe that the program is in place for openness and open transparency for people in the community to actually have a true feel of what's going on. We know, but however, we do know that with laws that family courts, and especially sometimes dealing with the ages of some of the people, a lot of these matters are sensitive, or a lot of these matters are closed off, or things that based on the nature of the sensitivity of what might be going on. There's currently a bill in the legislature that will mandate that some of these hearings be televised. And right. What is your position on this legislation that's going forward at this time?
Y'all, this is one question that I have to, not really, only because of the candidates. I can't really respond to this one. I have to remain neutral. But I can say from experience that there are issues in the family court regarding kids that you wouldn't want to live stream. When you start live streaming, and then there's a record that could be harassment, humiliation, those type of things could hurt the child. And so people killed, even maybe people that are witnesses may not want to be forthcoming because it's on live stream. Domestic violence may even get even more worse because there may be people that hears everything and they go back and what? Kill a person. And so that's what I can state to that.
Okay, I actually have one more question, but before I get to my last question, I must ask you this question on Reverend Anderson or not. Invite me back. Reverend Anderson is a big person who abhors blight. So we as a committee got to know, once your campaign is over, will you commit to removing all of your campaign slides within 30 days after the election?
Of course. I will comply and adhere. My husband right there and my people, my team, gonna make sure that we wrote down every sign. We took pictures of every one of those locations so we can move the signs. So we will get them away. I promise you.
If I wouldn't ask that question, Reverend Anderson. Okay. So my last question is going to be this, and then I'm coming right to the order, so please have your questions ready. What is the most important change you think needs to be made at the family court to make it operate efficiently, not just for the attorney, but for the citizens of East Baton Rouge Parish?
Well, I want to say this. My main vision and the platform is justice with compassion. I'm gonna go back to it because that's, to me, if anything gonna make some changes and transform and make things effective, it would be that. Why? It's important. Our children, our families deserve better. We can do better. And we can do it, to me, through justice with compassion, strengthening families. What I mean by strengthening families? Blended families. People should be able to co-parent healthy. We have our Family Wizard apps, where it's a co-parenting communication app, where the courts is able to monitor the text message going on, the families, to keep civility. We have that. They also have where we have co-parenting workshops and those type of things can be, and also special needs. I have the honor, and I love my sweetie. She's 4 years old. She's on a spectrum with autism. I believe I can bring that as well, because when it comes to custody, and I'm just stating this because I want people to hear a little bit more about me, that when it comes to custody, we have to really be mindful that when the children on the spectrum, whatever that special need is, that we make sure that both parents or non-parent, grandparent, whoever that is, caregiver, understands the danger and the things that they need to do when it comes to that. So I believe, and that's going to be something that, if God blesses me, to make sure even all of us on the fourth floor, that we're going to make sure we have our own training so we can understand the spectrum when it comes to making decisions for custody when it comes to those children. So I think it's very important.
Thank you so much. At this time, that is all the questions that I have, so I'm going to look out in the audience and then I ask if you have any questions, please feel free. I'm going to take the guest first.
Okay. My question is regarding non-compliant and derelict parents, not on the part of the finances, but when it's this parents' weekend, they don't turn the children over, they play chess and hold the children hostage. What, from your perspective, what could be done to deter that?
So there's the law that provides we can file a rule for contempt. And there's the contempt rule. It gives the person the opportunity to look at the judgment that was there and state specifically what the person did not, what did the person violate. There's consequences when you do bring that before the court. The person can be as a criminal quasi offense, meaning they can go to jail, be jailed, fined, and pay your attorney fees. That's some consequences. Another situation, you can get a civil warrant. So what happens is some people understand this, but if the person is holding the child as a hostage and there's a judgment in place, then the court, you can petition the court to give you a civil warrant. It's really quick. And that civil warrant will give you and the sheriff's department, anyone else, the opportunity to go and get that child. You know how they have arrest warrants? They have a civil warrant. And you can use that civil warrant to stop that action on the dial. As long as you have the judgment and you petition the court. And if I'm blessed to have the opportunity when you petition the court and this is a valid judgment, this is a judgment that's been rendered and there's a violation, then you give the option and tell you immediately find the child no matter where it's at, whatever in this district, and guess what? They get the child. So there's a way that that can be enforced, this law can be enforced at all times.
It doesn't seem like many people are even aware of this at all, that actually living it day to day.
They don't.
And how many offenses, just say, you may let the first 2 or 3 slide or whatever, can you just do it on the first violation?
Oh, let me tell you this, and this is just to tell you this. This is not a fact pattern. There's another thing with Candace. A person giving a fact pattern, I don't know if it may possibly come before me, and I can't specifically speak on it, but I can speak on it generally. With that being said, I'll tell you the general response. The general response would be, even on the first one, there could be some accountability. So, but people have to be willing to go the extra mile. Don't let everybody let it slide. The child matters more. Go to the extra mile. Don't refuse to just sit there and let someone do that. And so just know that the courts are available. There has some self-help on the 4th floor. There's in addition to the Palmer Park, I didn't mention this, but there's a self-help desk where you can go in and they have the forms for you and everything on the 4th floor on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have 2 questions.
No.
The first one has to do with, as I mentioned, I'm in court every day, and we prioritize DV, first appearance. And so that challenge of the lack of collaborative work intersection shows up every day, whether it is who produced the protective order, what was going on in cases that are running concurrently. And one of the things that I have a question about is that because when we first started 7 years ago, first appearance wasn't even held in a courtroom, if you remember. It was held in a closet, yeah, with a man, well, I'm not gonna go there. But because we were in court, we have now managed to get it much more open. Obviously, that is not something that works for family court. But in that process, we've also been able to do one other thing, is that we do an empowerment education virtual meeting every month, and we pick different topics. And so we've actually had all but one of the commissioners on that program to talk about different aspects of first appearance. The family court, as far as I know of, has never participated in educating the general public. And so my question goes like this. If you are elected and we issue an invitation, will you come and explain how the basic rules go?
I don't think that's a problem, of course, because if I'm blessed to have opportunity, I believe that's a part of transparency that we discussed. That should be all across the board. So that'll help others, to know what's available, what's accessible. So of course.
So my second question goes to the issue that you said about the cannons, which funny how the cannons only work when it's not. Nobody got a personal interest. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. But my question is, there's something called a white card at the legislature, which I'm sure you're familiar with. A white card is informational. And when it comes to those other items, judges don't put in white cards. They go down there en masse, whether it's Metro Council, whether it is the legislature. But my question is, especially for those issues that judges have a special knowledge of what that looks like in implementation, why isn't there an effort to put in white cards, go in and not talk to one point of view or the other, but to literally explain what the implementation will look like? And if elected, are you willing to, at every level, amongst other judges, amongst trying to figure out what is acceptable in the rules before the Supreme Court, are you willing to see if that role can be more aggressive amongst, particularly in courts like the specialty courts and family courts where there's evidentiary information?
So I can say this, and I'll say this again. You all know the canon. I'm gonna say it over and over because it's very important that we know that there's something like a bridge of things that I can speak on. However, I love, and I say this, you may surprise y'all, but the family court attorneys, they are Baton Rouge Bar Association. They are keeping us informed of every piece of legislation that deals with us. So we know that on tomorrow, in the House Judiciary, HB 278, which deals with the live streaming of all the family law proceedings, will be held. Only card we can utilize is the white, because it's informational. However, there will be advocates of the attorneys, and some judges will be able to speak as an informative, for information purposes on tomorrow. If I'm blessed, I will be that type that will still be willing to be, I just think we have to be transparent. I will not do anything that's a violation of my ethical violation. I will not. It's not worth it. But I will definitely inform and keep the people informed. You won't have to worry about that. I will do the white card because that's something we have to do. But I will testify on the information that I can do. I will do that.
Next question, yes ma'am.
Hey, I have a question. We were talking about the other judges that are already seated, and I was wondering, with the experience that you have, can you describe for us the relationship that you already have with what would be your peers if you were to win this election?
Oh my God. So I have a good relationship with with all of the family court judges. I have a good relationship with all, even, we communicate, I believe there's a mutual respect between all of us. They know I'm loving, they know that I have a desire and passion to become judge, but they treated me and treated my client just the same as if, just a, as an attorney. I come prepared, I don't ask for favors. I'm just not that type. And I won't give favors, because at the end of the day, I'm aligned with the fairness, I'm aligned with equity, I'm aligned with doing the right thing and not being cahoots or corruption. And so with that being said, I have a great relationship. I believe we all have mutual respect amongst and then our senior judge, which is, Chief Judge is Erica Green. Our senior judge, who's is Judge Charlene Day, and then we have Kyle Russ in Division D, which I ran last time, and then we have Judge Lisa Woodard White, as well as I believe Judge Tony Higginbotham are both waiting until God blesses one of us with the seat, praying it's me with the seat. And so with that being said, all mutual respect. I mean, mutual respect.
Any other questions from the audience? Yes, ma'am.
I watch legislation a lot. I work at the Department of Insurance. I'm 20 years in now. 16 years in complaints, and now I'm in forms, and it just doesn't function. But my question is, with your new platform, when you become judge, what is your most passionate pet peeve that you would like to push legislation for?
Now, I couldn't do legislation. That's one thing I can't do. It'll be outside of my scope. However, I know what you're saying. And you're talking about any issues?
Yes, that you would like, when they're discussing what needs to be fixed or what needs the program or
domestic
whatever.
violence. Oh my God, I am definitely, if they have any person that they want to say, hey, God bless me, I'm going to be one that's going to definitely be an advocate amongst my peers as well as for the community. And putting children first, period. Do water my hearings, things just of that nature to children need to be put first, basically. I can just tell you that. Because sometimes the interests are not just for children. We have to prioritize the children because of the decisions that we make. And I'm saying this, I'm talking about child custody and things. We have child support and all those other issues. But when it comes to child custody, visitation, we have to make sure that the child's best interest is being served. No matter who has the money. That's all I'm saying. That's just real.
Well, I'll just rephrase it a little bit for you to use the platform for informational purposes that you will be allowed to do as a judge.
Yes, ma'am. So domestic violence will definitely be one. Transparency amongst us all, always transparency. And people need to be respected, heard, and not feel like they are coming into something with crisis and leave out. People need to be healed. And healed, not saying we're talking about ministry, but I'm a minister, but I ain't ministering, and I always make sure you emphasize that. I'm a minister, but I don't have to minister when it comes to that level. But I do have to administer the justice. And so with that being said, we just have to be mindful of what we do and how we treat people, period.
Did you have a question?
Yes, that actually led to what you just spoke of, my question. As a minister and as a court-appointed representative, how do you balance your faith and your position? How do we trust that your Holy Spirit and your faith will always supersede what the law says?
So let me tell you this. It don't have to supersede. That's the thing. Some people want to put the faith as an issue, but let me tell you this. When you have faith, it's a part of you. It's not with you, it's a part of you. So when you get there, there's a part of you that no one can change. But I'm going to do my job and apply the law to the facts. But at the end of the day, my faith going to be strong. Nobody can stop me from praying before I get on the bench. Nobody can stop me from having a love and compassion in my heart. but I'm gonna apply the law to the facts. But there's a conviction as well as everything when it comes to that. You have to deal with that because you are blessed with the opportunity to be a judge, to be able to be a trial fact, meaning that there's facts and there's evidence and there's the law. And you have the opportunity to be able to look at those witnesses and see if they're competent or they're doing some deception going on. And that, when you bring that with you, that gives you an extra boost because you can see it. You can feel it, and you can discern it. And so, with that being said, it's a superpower, it's extra. It's not something that's gonna supersede, oh, no, it's me. And it is you, nobody can stop it. So you just be you, stay true to you, but do your job. And my job will be apply the law to the facts.
Yeah, good answer.
Period.
That's good.
Next question, yes, ma'am.
I'm in the court a lot, so I got these saved up. But unfortunately, ICE is in East Baton Rouge Parish. And when I say ICE is in East Baton Rouge Parish, I mean almost every single day I get a video. And they are also in the courts. And the issue you brought up is one issue. But the issue of them coming into courtrooms is a very real issue now. And I don't know if you're prohibited from speaking to that.
I am.
Okay. Because I will say this, the challenge for most of our friends, families, and neighbors in the immigrant and refugee community is that the place that is supposed to protect them, all of those places are now open for raids. And so how does the court manifest itself as a protector of due process if in fact the facility is being invaded? And you may not be able to answer it, but I most certainly think every judiciary officer is confronting that issue. And at some point, I think the court is going to have to deal with it.
I can say that's I can end with that. We definitely have to deal with it, but I can't really speak to it. I'm just kind of blinded with that side. I'm sorry, I love y'all. At the end of the day, Candace, you having you tied up, and I'm very well versed on what I can't say and what I will, but I don't want to do because this position matters so much more to me that I can't allow someone to get in because I just made a mistake.
Yes, ma'am.
That just opens my last question.
Okay.
I heard you allude to the fact that you ran before. Why do it again?
Resilient faith. You're sitting here with a person that, this is not for sympathy, so I'm not against the candidates, that overcame breast cancer survivor, that overcame just dysfunction, child dysfunction. I have not allowed any odds that was against me to beat me because of the God that I serve. And that made me, because when you're called to something, your job is to answer. Let God do the outcome. And so whatever his will is his will.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the audience? If not, I'm going to say that I'm glad I was here this afternoon. I'm glad I was here this evening because I've learned a lot. Caulette can tell you I've been her twin. And I thought about it. It's been, what, 30 years? I've been growing up. So to watch them grow, hear her speak, I know she's speaking from the heart. I learned at an early age that no one cares what you say to the person that you care.
Right.
And so when I hear you speak, you know, I wrote down the 3 things you talked about, child first mentality. You talk about the importance of domestic violence, and as a former domestic violence prosecutor, you know that means a lot. It still does to me. And the compassion and the heart to treat people with equality. And so those are the things I took from it. I hope those are the things you as an audience took from it. I hope you please get out and let people know in the community that we need people like this on the bench, that we need to advocate, and that we need to get out and vote. I want to ask everybody to take a second and please give Ms. Jackson. Now, since it's her forum, I don't want to be the last voice you hear. I'm going to give her 2 minutes to close out and give you the reasons and why to vote and give you the motivation to get others to vote.
This race is not about politics. It's about people. It's about families. Most importantly, it's about children. For over 20 years, I stood in this courthouse, in this parish, and other parishes, fighting for families, protecting our children. I've seen heartbreak. I've seen joys. And all I want to do is bring fairness, wisdom, and compassion to the bench. I'm not asking for this. Take your time.
Take your time.
People over politics for me. Please don't take these tears for weakness, but it means so much to me because it's not about position or power for me. It's about passion and purpose for me. And as a wife, as a mother, grandmother, I understand the decisions in family court. I understand that it can make or break a family, make or break a household. And all I ask is that you consider number 43, Caulette Jackson Guillard, if I won your ballot. And not only that, consider those children. Consider that the decisions that are being made in the fourth floor impact your children, and if it's not your children, your friends' children. If you want someone that knows you, that understands the law but understands you, people need to be treated with dignity, respect, and they need to be heard, period. That's what I bring to the table. And so I beseech everybody that's on this video and in this room to make sure you go and vote. Don't make excuses. Vote early, May 2nd through 9th. You have a woman of God that know her position because she was called to it. And I'm asking that you consider me. Press that button. You're going to see twin on there. And I say every time, twin for the win, prophetically. At the end, twin with the win. I need everyone to go out and vote. I don't care if you're white, if you're black, you're my sister, you're my brother. If you're Hispanic, I don't care. Republican, Democrat, not, it doesn't matter. Family law is not political, no matter how people try to make it. This is not against the closed party. This is not governed by the closed party. You don't have to be, if you say you're Democrat and you have to vote on family law position, you can vote either way because it's not governed by a closed party. Don't let nobody trick you into that. Vote early. Number 43, Caulette Jackson Guillard. I'm available. I'm ready to serve on day one. And I thank you for that.
I'm going to encourage the audience, and encourage people, I'm going to actually say, please vote. Not only vote for yourself, but make sure you take 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, and you encourage others to vote. We have to start speaking out. We have to start speaking up. We have to start voting in our own best interest and the things that are best for us, our communities, and our family. Attorney, I'm going to only correct one thing on your campaign. I want you to start saying, I too am a man of the Bible, not a pastor, but a man of faith. my Bible tells me that you speak things as if they were, you speak them into existence. So I want you to stop saying if, my God allows you. Start saying when, my God allows you. That's the only thing I ask. And I thank this audience, and y'all have a blessed night.
Thank you.
I want to thank the candidate. Thank you for an amazing forum. I want to thank my friend. Thank you for such an amazing job of moderating. I want to give our partners who were so gracious to come out tonight a few minutes. I want to give Pulse a moment to talk about what you all are doing. I want to give our friends at Lori a moment. And y'all got to eat. Y'all got to eat. And then we have built in time for you to talk one-on-one with the candidate. So Pulse, if you'll go first, and then Dr. Patience, if you'll come afterwards. And y'all can move around. Like, I'm dead serious about this. Y'all move around, get some food. All right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Malika. I'm from an organization called Pulse. I wanted to encourage everyone to definitely early vote. As been stated before, we have a very important election coming up on May 16. And I want to encourage you to vote no to Amendment 2, which is the formation of St. George schools. From the day that they announced that they were going to be a city, Danny and I have been coordinating with parents that actually live in St. George who do not want the split of St. George. And we've been working because a lot of us are forgotten about because everybody thinks that everybody in St. George wants this, right? So a lot of people who started this fight 15 years ago don't even have children in the school system anymore. So the ones of us that are there now have been organizing ourselves, and we're here to share information if you have any questions about what's on the ballot. We handed out some fact sheets for you as well. You can visit our website or our Instagram. And I have one little ask of you. We believe that individual touches is the best way to earn votes. And a lot of people don't know, but the whole state votes on this school election, right? So if you have friends or family that live in the state, before you leave, fill out an envelope to whoever you want, a couple of people if you want, and we'll take care of the stamp. You can put one of our fast facts in there, send it to them, and put a little note from you, and address it from yourself and to them personally, so that we can drop this in the mail and let them know this election is coming, and we want their vote on May 16th. All right? And I will. Say or before. Or before. All right, thank you guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Patience Moga. I am the Program and Activity Manager for Lori. Lori stands for the Louisiana Organization for Refugees and Immigrants. So we help immigrants and refugees that come into the U.S. in their integration process into the new environment. And we help them to be productive citizens. So our objective is to help them to be self-reliant, to become leaders in their communities so that they can impact others. So we do different programs. We have immigration legal aid. We have civic engagement where we encourage people to vote, because we believe that when your vote counts, and when you vote, you put the right people that will help defend the community. And we equally have education and access to resources. We refer our community members to different resources. We work with different partners, especially Parish. We do a lot of things. We even have a food pantry. So it's a lot that we do, and we just encourage everyone to look at immigrants like human beings. They are humans. We know there's a lot of things about immigration right now, but they are parents, they are family members, they are children, they are women who are just looking for safety. They're just looking for a place to belong. And I just want to invite you to our upcoming event. It's the Immigrant and Refugee Day. It's June 26th. June 27th is going to be at the Family Life Center. So this is one of our signatory events where we have communities come together. We have many countries. Last time we had over 60 countries represented. Yeah, we have over 60 countries in Louisiana. So just come, international food, learn about people's cultures. And yeah, immigrants are here to give back to the community. The country that has welcomed them, so we want just to give back. Yeah, so it's a lot of activities. You can go to our website at www.mylori.org
and you will see the amazing things that we do. Yes, we're just here to serve the community and to say thank you to the U.S. for accepting us into the country, and we want to be productive citizens and to give back to the community. Thank you.